This is Good Chat, a conversation where Sunday truth meets our weekday lives.
It's been good talking to you. It's been good talking to you.
Accommodating.
So nice.
Well, that's what Phil was talking about.
I
is
know.
loving people. So I try my best. I am.
You're pretty good at it.
I have my moments, and the biggest fault that I have is tend to be, and I've been trying so hard with this. I tend to be reactionary instead of responsive. And so when I'm interacting with people, and like just let's say the grocery store or something, and the person is, kind of quick, slow, just gives off that rude vibe. My initial go-to is to copy that. And I've tried so hard.
You mirror.
I do. And so I try so hard to be like, no. Regardless, I'm loving. I'm being kind. I'm being gentle. I'm being, because my go-to is that. And so hopefully that will become more natural as I get older.
I don't remember if Phil said this, but it's something we've talked about being intentional about it. Like, even if you don't come in with an agenda, I'm going to say this to a stranger today, but just to be intentional. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to look people in the eye and smile.
Yeah.
And having a intentionality is not really a great word, but that's what I'm thinking of is instead of reactionary.
Yeah, I like that, and I like mirror. I haven't thought of that before, but the idea that you're mirroring other people, I don't want to mirror other people.
Well, what's interesting is that can be a really great trait if you're wanting to empathize with somebody and you can mirror the pain that they're experiencing and letting them know that they're seen. So that's the really great side of it. But then I see what you're saying, you don't want to mirror a grumpy attitude.
Which is where the intentionality comes in, right? And
break
so
through that.
At the end of the day, my hope is that by spending time in the Word and spending time in prayer, if I'm starting my day that way, that I'll be mirroring Jesus in those interactions, which is for me why it's so important that I get those times, because I'm easily distracted. And so if I wake up and I don't have that focus, if that's not my mentality, then it's hard for me to mirror.
Yeah.
So
that's a really, really great argument for starting your day.
Yeah.
With quiet time instead of making it. I mean, I know seasons in life and some people just can't do it first thing in the morning, but that's a really good argument for it.
Yeah, because it's just so easy at least for people like me. I don't know if this is everybody, but there's so much input. So whether it's TV or music or social media, news, whatever it is, there's so many things that end up in there. And then that tends to be what comes out. Yeah. Right. And I just know for me that I'm easily influenced by music, the type of music I listen to. If it's a little bit higher, when I was younger, I would listen to a little bit harder music, rap and some, and
you don't mean DC Talk?
No, I wasn't a Christian at that point, but eventually that had a huge part in me coming to know Jesus.
Oh, interesting.
It was the music. I had a friend who showed me the love of Jesus by the way he lived. And a lot of things he didn't cuss. I did a lot of cussing. And then his music was Newsboys and DC Talk and Audio A. And so he kind of introduced those to me as a way of getting off of the other music. And it really made
you off.
Yeah, and it really made a difference.
That's awesome.
Because I mirror. And so, my attitude would reflect the music I listen to. Yeah. And in this idea of I want to let people know that I love Jesus, and so I want to love other people, it's really important for me then to be careful of, like we were talking about Sam earlier. Sam, he calls me a K-Love guy. Well, I have, for me.
Because that's what you listen to all the time?
Yeah, because I have to. Otherwise. So starting my day in the Word, also really important because that sets my heart up.
You're making me think of something. This is going to sound random, but it makes perfect sense to me to say it right now. But in Chris's world, in programming, they have this idea of first in, first out, or first in, last out. It's a tool that they use in creating programs, writing programs. And so for you, it's like first in, first out, right? If you put Jesus in first, that's going to be the first thing that comes out.
Yeah.
Instead of the first thing in, last thing out.
Right.
So you're a first in, first out kind of guy.
Totally.
So if you know that about yourself, then you want to like front load the beginning of your day with all the good stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's the idea. If our goal as Christians is that we are going to love people the way Jesus has loved us, like when we practically look at that, I do think there's intentionality in that.
Yeah.
And so, one of the things I'd want to ask you is what in your life, because you're a woman I respect a lot, Nicole. Like you're a godly woman. Your love for Jesus is evident. Your love and how you care for your children and your spouse. Like it's amazing. So first of all, thank you for being a great mirror for me.
Oh, thanks.
But I would love
Pressure's
to hear. No, you just be you is the amazing part. But what does that look like for you when you're going, I want to, because I don't want to share much of your story without you sharing your story, but you spend a lot of time in places that not all of us go all the time. So seeing doctors or nurses. And so I'm just curious, what does that look like? How have you been able to represent Jesus, to model that love for others that they would know? Because one of the things that Pastor Phil was talking about recently was this idea that how we love one another is the reflection.
Yeah.
And so I'm just curious what that's looked like for you as you've gone out into these places. How have you been able to reflect that love practically?
I don't know specifically. Maybe one of the most challenging times that I've had to be intentional about that is while I was in spinal rehab, because I was there for so long and it was during a COVID shutdown, so I couldn't have Chris or any of my friends there with me. It was just me alone in my room with the staffers who were assigned to that floor and nowhere else. They weren't allowed to swap staff either, so it was the same people every day.
That makes sense, yeah.
And so I was also it was a really hard time for me. I wasn't even thinking clearly, right? Because I just had my spinal cord injury. But I did want to be true to who I am, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I was speaking that to myself, like, this is who you are, Nicole. Don't forget, you lost the ability to move your legs, but you're still who you are. So I did the things that I do. Chris had left an iPad and I watched Sunday services in my room. And there was somebody in my room once while I was watching Sunday services and she was making the bed or something like that. And she heard, I think it was Brian preaching about joy. And I think he was saying something like, we can have joy even when it's a rough day or kind of like what you're talking about. Like, what do you do with, what do you say? What comes out of your mouth?
Yeah.
And I remember her stopping and saying to me, well, that's not how I would do it. and so it was just a chance for me to just say, well, that's interesting. Tell me about that,
Yeah.
So I don't know. I wasn't like, it was not evangelism and I wasn't in a place to go there, but just being who I am, like reminding myself that I am somebody who God claims as his own and who wants, before I say this next thing, Phil was talking about loving others, God loving others through us. And I felt like saying, the longer I am alive, the more I believe that God accomplishes his will through people.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
he can bring in a swarm of locusts
For
or
sure.
a worldwide flood, but most
Right.
often he uses people. And so I just want to be true to that, let him love others through me any way I can.
Yeah. And again, like you're saying, the more I track with Jesus, there's some things that have become really clear to me. And even that piece about, well, I wasn't really trying to evangelize. And I think that's the kicker, that our identity, who we are, which is what you are resting in, has been changed. And so I think we try to put a lot of energy and effort into, I'm gonna evangelize, I'm gonna say these things, when the reality is we've been made new. And I don't want to take out intentionality, because there's a lot of intentionality. But I also wonder if sometimes we're trying too hard.
Oh, yeah.
Because we, like we talked about, God is love, and God indwells us. And so then we've been made new, we've been transformed. And so when we interact with people, we have effort and intent that we need to have, because we tend to revert, at least I do, because I'm a mirror. But really, it's, if we're pursuing Jesus and we're trying to model Jesus, I really do think it's a lot more simple than we make
Yeah.
it out to be.
I think so too. And I think maybe when I say intentionality, I mean more of like taking every opportunity that God gives me to just lean in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really, that's it. Because I'm an introvert, so my tendency is to not lean in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think you and I are about as opposite as it gets in that respect. You know, you might be a mirror, that's your go-to, and my go-to is to just be quiet. You know, I like to have a rich internal dialogue with the Lord.
Yes.
And so for me, the intentionality is to just not do the easy thing.
For sure.
So
Yeah, and that's that Ephesians 5. Make the most of every opportunity.
Yeah.
And that's the desire, I think, that differentiates the disciple of Jesus than those that aren't. And that it's a within us, this desire to submit, this intentionality to be obedient and go, you've put me in this environment with this woman. And so that kind of leads me to one of the things that you had mentioned is this, hey, I would love to hear more about that. Hey, tell me about that. Like that, there's this spirit of curiosity within us when it comes to people.
oh yeah, for sure. Do you think that comes from the Lord? Do you
I
think,
do.
or that's just how different people are wired?
No, I do, because I think it has to do with humility. And I can't speak in generalization. That's not fair. But what I've found, at least in my own life and coming to know Jesus, how I was before versus now, I was pretty egocentric.
Not curious about others.
No, because I feel this feels bad saying, but I really think there's a natural selfishness that people have.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know,
I had
and-
never thought of that curiosity piece as being what you just used the
A
word.
spirit of curiosity.
Yeah, like being an identifier of a
Yeah,
disciple.
yeah.
But I think that people are interesting and I'm curious about that.
Yes, because there's this. We know when we're transformed, when we're renewed, when we're indwelt. These are the creation of God. They may not be saved, but they're the creation of God.
Right.
They're made in the image of God. And as He has pursued us, I believe He wants us to pursue people. That's the whole, they'll know you by your love. And that spirit of curiosity is I value others. I want to know others the way Jesus has known me and pursued me. And so I do think there's something about, as a transformed Christian, that becomes part of His work in us, is that dying to self. And when I think about Jesus, how He lowered Himself,
Yeah.
right? And He, even with His disciples, you know, the getting on His knees to wash their feet. I mean,
Humility.
yeah. And so I think the humility piece is a big deal for us. And so that idea that we're not putting the attention on us, we're putting our attention on others.
I wonder if that has to do with us being a reflection of God, you know, like we're His created beings, we're the Imago Dei. You know, I feel more fully known and loved by God than anyone else. Like He knows me fully. I don't know that I would say that I think that God is curious about me.
Yeah.
I think He knows me.
Totally.
But maybe the curiosity that we're discussing is downstream of us reflecting God's knowing,
Yep.
ability to know people fully. Like maybe He wants us to know others fully.
Yes.
And that starts with being curious.
Yes, totally. And I feel like, for me personally, that same thing is to be known. I mean, Matthew, right, in 7, he talks about they didn't know me, right? There's this something about knowing. My sheep hear my voice and they follow me, so they know Jesus.
Yeah.
And so there is something about that. And I think when we have that spirit of curiosity, we're able to know people better, which then allows us to model Jesus better.
Yeah.
Right? So
And
because
to meet their needs.
yes, because we're entering a relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do think that's a pretty big piece of the loving side of us, is trying to get the attention off ourselves
Yeah.
and put
That
it
makes
on
sense.
others.
So curiosity would be some type of sign that we are putting off self and putting on Christ, that we're becoming humble, not in a false humility, but in that true humility.
Yeah.
That is a really cool new thought.
Yeah, I like that too. I'm going to be spending some more time processing that and trying to figure out, okay, what does that look like in my everyday? Because I don't think it's just even with the nurse at the hospital. I'm going like even with my wife.
Yeah, everyone.
You know?
But I wonder if that breaks the mirror for you, in that you see the grumpy person and then you, instead of reflecting the grump, you get curious. Well, why is she grumpy? What's going on with your day today?
Oh, that's so good, Nicole. I love that. Thank you. I'm actually going to use that.
Okay, great.
I haven't thought of that before.
Yeah.
I'm always just like, why are you so mean? But to ask the question.
Just flip the tone. Why are you so mean?
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah, and that's so cool. We know so much and we forget so much. Like I'm just thinking of a phrase that I've used with my students that I you often what you share is what you need as well.
Oh yeah.
And one of the things I've talked about is you're entering into people's lives in chapter 7.
Right.
And you don't know what happened in chapters 1 through 6.
Right.
And so having that spirit of curiosity. So when you're at the store or wherever and somebody or cuts you off and they're yelling at you because you didn't even realize you cut them off or whatever.
Right.
That what's
Right.
going on
You
in their
didn't know.
life. Yeah. And the reality is it's probably not always us. And so how can I love them best in that moment? How can I know them and know their story, which then allows us to love better and giving grace and mercy.
And in that respect, curiosity is a form of love,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Can I find out what's going on with your day?
Yeah, and then that allows us to then, one of the things, Phil mentioned was praying
Yeah.
and going, hey, can I pray for you right now?
It's just, to go back to what Phil mentioned, that curiosity is in that moment when you see the grumpy person and you ask, what's going on today? That is, I'm noticing you,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
This is my acknowledgement that I'm noticing you. And like Phil mentioned, the person who noticed that he needed his lawn mowed while he was in Paraguay, right? I was just noticing. Noticing shows so much care,
Yes.
and that is
Yep.
God's love going through a year to someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they will know.
Yeah.
There's something different.
Yeah.
What is
right.
it?
And so that's how we get to be the identified disciples of Christ.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. The light.
These
in
are
the
my
world.
people.
Yeah. Yeah. Great conversation. Thank you.
Yeah. Are we
those are-
done already?
Yeah. It's
my
been 15
goodness.
minutes. Are we?
This is so fun. Every time I'm like, wait, why are we done already? We
And
just started.
This is why Mark is like, not an hour. Because I could go on forever.
Right. Well, yeah.
But this piece for me, I just want you to know, like, what a great reminder. So thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Like that idea that when I'm, at Target or I'm about to leave to drop Gavin off at school.
I know
and I'm gonna-
lots of new.
Yeah, I'll be at gas stations, I'll be at hotels, and interacting with people. I want to have that curiosity. I want to notice people so that I can model Jesus for them.
And one little thing on that is it takes a lot of energy
Yeah.
to be curious.
Yep.
We're not going to be able to do this on our own. And that was totally evident in Phil's sermon. Like, we need the power of the Holy Spirit in this.
Yeah.
And it seems a silly thing to, Lord, give me the strength to be curious today. But when you're meeting your 50th first person, when you
Yeah.
drop off Gavin at school, you're going to
Yeah.
be tired. But
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that it's not possible.
Right. And that's, I love it. And you will be my witnesses. Like, you'll be empowered by the Holy Spirit to be my witnesses. And that's the empowering piece. And I love the indwelling. That's because one of the things we were talking about was as we were worshiping together on Sunday, it was a lot of surrender, a lot of spirit, temple, and it's this idea of like we're empowered by the Spirit so that when we are tired,
Yes.
when it's the 50th person,
Yes.
then we can actually
Yes.
model him well and love well because of the work he's doing in us,
Yes.
which I think we talked about just a few minutes ago when we first started talking. Like, you can try to fake it. Like you can muster it up. It doesn't work. It's
can
not
be
the
polite.
same. Yeah, anybody can be polite.
Yeah.
But it's not the same. And I don't think it has the same impact.
Are you noticing me? Or are you just having good manners because your mama taught you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Oh, now you'll have to tell me how it goes when you get back.
I will. Thanks so much,
Yeah.
Nicole.
Good Chat is a podcast by Foothills Church located in Cameron Park, California. For more information about our church, visit foothillscp.org. Thanks for listening.